this Friday, in 3 days, Friday, October the 30th, Dr. Umar will be celebrating his 10th anniversary
10th.
from the first day he spoke in New York City. That was October 30th, 2010, at the National Black Theater in Harlem. That was the first time New York City ever had a chance to hear and meet Dr. Umar live and in person. And this Friday, October the 30th, will be 10 long years of coming to New York, speaking, building, organizing, networking, helping the parents, saving the children. And I'm just hoping all the brothers and sisters will come out on Friday and show me love as I release my new book for the
Yep.
very first time in New York City, Black Parent Advocate, The Art of War for Dealing with America's Public and Charter Schools.
Yep.
I will be signing books from 2 p.m. until 8 p.m. It's not a lecture. It's not a lecture. It's a drop in book signing from 2 p.m. until 8 p.m. And we will be at the Fun Times Paint Lounge at 1148 Nostrand Avenue. Again, that's the Fun Times Paint Lounge in Brooklyn this
Yep.
Friday, 1148 Nostrand Avenue. Come through, give me a hug, take a picture, ask a question, most of all, buy a book and get one signed.
Wow. Wow. And is this one of your first project, or this your first book, or you have more in store?
It's the second book. It's not the last by no means. My next project is, first of all, I have to update the first book, Psychoacademic Holocaust, the Special Education and ADHD Wars Against Black Boys. That released in New York City. New York was the first city to get that book on March the 6th of 2013, 7 years
2013.
ago. New
7 years
York was
ago.
the first to get that book. Black Parent Advocate, the new book, released in Chicago on September the 18th, 3 weeks ago, which was my 10-year anniversary in Chicago. Just to give you a little piece of history, DJ, when I blew up in Black consciousness on
Yeah.
the national and global scene in 2010, it started off with a public television interview in Chicago on September the 18th. And then my next stop after that was Harlem on October the 30th. So we've already celebrated my 10-year anniversary in Chicago on September the 18th. And now it's time to celebrate my 10-year anniversary in New York City, October the 30th. So I'm basically going back over that victory trail all over again because when I leave you guys, I then go down to Virginia to honor Nat Turner on the day that Nat Turner was killed, executed after leading the most daring revolution in American history in Nat Turner Land, Virginia. So I'll be down there on Wednesday, November the 11th, and that'll be my 10th year going to Nat Turner. And then I go to Atlanta, Georgia on Thursday, November the 19th.
Yeah.
That'll be my 10th anniversary in Atlanta, and we will end the anniversary tour in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on Thursday, December the 10th. So we have 5 anniversaries: Chicago, New York this Friday, Nat Turner Land, Atlanta, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So this is the 10-year anniversary tour. But it all started with Chicago and New York City. If it wasn't for Chicago and New York City, I would not be King Kong consciousness.
So how was that first book? How did it did in the stores, and what was that first book about? Could you
The
elaborate on
first
that?
book, Psychoacademic Holocaust, and let me say this as a preface to answering your question. I want all of our African parents, our Brooklyn African parents, our Staten Island African parents, our Queens African parents, our Bronx African parents, our Harlem African parents, our Yonkers African parents, our New Roselle African parents, our Caribbean African parents, our Jamaican African parents, our Haitian African parents, our Nigerian African parents. They all need to get this book, DJ, because what I'm seeing in the schools, and this is answering that question, is our Caribbean African parents who live in New York City, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Pennsylvania, they are at an even greater disadvantage than the American African parents because the schools don't expect the Jamaican African parents, the Puerto Rican African parents, the Haitian African parents. They don't expect the Bahamian African parents, the Nigerian African parents, the Senegalese African. They don't expect them to know their rights at all. See, with the American African parents, if they say some of them might know what's going on, but most of them don't. But when that Jamaican African parent walks into that public school in New York City, when that Liberian African parent walks into that public school in New York City, they are almost certain that those parents don't know the school law, that they don't know educational process, that they don't know special ed policy. And so this new book, and I'm gonna come right back to that first one, this new book picks up where the first one left off. So let's go to the first book. That's your question.
Yeah.
Psychoacademic Holocaust provides an overall breakdown and analysis of how the school to prison pipeline operates. It talks about 6 key areas, DJ. There are 6 stages in America's psychoacademic Holocaust against Black boys. Stage 1, deliberate and intentional miseducation. This is on purpose. It is by design. It is with deliberate intent. It has nothing to do with sagging pants. It has nothing to do with football. It has nothing to do with single mothers. It has nothing to do with incarcerated fathers. And I say that, DJ, because if you go to a rich upper class Black public, if you go to a rich upper class white public school district that has Black children whose father might be a doctor and mother might be a lawyer, they still go through the same hell. So it is socioeconomically neutral. It applies to all Black boys, whether your parents make $1 million a year and are married, or whether you're living with a single mom in the projects in Brooklyn. It's the same. And the reason, stage 1, the reason miseducation at stage 1 is so important, DJ, is because it guarantees that white privilege for white boys and white girls is always protected and maintained. In other words, you must deliberately sabotage the education of Black children to guarantee white priority and privilege. That's stage 1.
Yeah,
ready for stage 2?
Before you go to stage 2, let me say something about that. My friend here, K9, is here inside the studio with us, and we said that you said that the white privilege, they have a code, right? They have a code whenever they meet or whenever they see each other in the street.
Foreigners and Americans.
Even foreigners and European, whenever they see each other in the street, they know the area code. They know the code. They stick together. I don't know why we don't have that bond, because they have that white privilege over us. No matter how you see a young kid driving a car, I don't want to be racist or political or whatever, but sometimes you see a white kid driving a car and don't have a driver's license, you don't have the proper paperwork for it. But if a policeman pull you over and he's white and the two of them white, the both of them know the code. You understand what I mean? When you say white privilege. But let's go back to what you were trying to say.
Absolutely. And see here, DJ, this is where all of us as Africans globally often get distracted and sidetracked when we talk about racism. So, for example, and we don't want to get off task because we want to stay focused on our children, but I want to draw a quick segue over to the current presidential race. Donald Trump has a platinum package for American Africans, a platinum package. But what a lot of black people are not paying attention to is the Hispanic Prosperity Initiative that President Trump signed about a month ago. If you compare the Hispanic Prosperity Bill to the American African Platinum Package, they're like night and day. He's guaranteeing the Hispanics improved education.
Yeah.
He's guaranteeing them as a group improved economic opportunity.
Wow.
See, although he talks about economics in the platinum package, and he may talk about education in the platinum package, the big